have the floor.
Very good morning. I'd like to greet all the delegates to the chairs. New Zealand, the stance on the issue of detention without trial. New Zealand is against the detention without trial. We believe that people should have human rights, and we hope today we can solve the issue of detention without trial. And on the issue of child mortality rates, New Zealand is very poor and assisting countries who have high child mortality rates, and we hope we can solve this today in today's conference. With that, New Zealand, and thank you.
Thank you, delegates. Delegate of Thailand, you now have the floor. The chair stands corrected. The delegate of Sri Lanka, you now have the floor.
Very good morning to the Honourable Chairs and fellow delegates of the House. Sri Lanka is here today in this United Nations conference to discuss the topics of detention without trial and reducing child mortality rates. Sri Lanka would like to share with you our viewpoints on these two topics. Detention without trial is sometimes viewed as an action taken unfairly but sometimes necessary to maintain a country's peace. Counter-terrorism legalization in Sri Lanka allows authorities to arrest people without evidence and to hold them without charge or trial for extended periods. Considering the fact that the child mortality rate in Sri Lanka can improve, therefore, Sri Lanka is working on a plan to lower the child mortality rate in Sri Lanka. The lives of children are precious, as one day one of them will be here to attend this conference in the future. Sri Lanka hopes that this conference will be insightful and productive. Let us take all logical resolutions into consideration before making a decision. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate.
A very good morning to the Honourable Chair and my fellow delegates. On this spectacular morning, I will take the stage to speak about the two matters at hand: detention without trial and reducing child mortality rates. Firstly, Ireland promotes detention without trials and has many views on reducing child mortality rates. Ireland will start with detention without trial. In Ireland, this detention only lasts a certain period of time. Next, reducing child mortality rates. In Ireland, the child mortality rates are low, which only about 3.8 per 1,000 births, and it's ranked 201 lowest. But Ireland will not share its views, opinions, and resolution later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, delegate.
Chairs and delegates, this delegate representing Nicaragua would like to say that Ireland's resolution made two assumptions which Nicaragua believes to have caused them extreme detriment. The first one being this resolution concedes to the fact that the crime committed can be identified, hence allowing the third clause to even exist, in which the time detained will be proportional to their crime. Nicaragua would like to say that if you already can define and identify the kind of charges you are pressing, Nicaragua believes that it is more feasible and more justified to just send these people who are charged into court to allow them to go through a proper legal proceeding, and then you detain them with proper due legal proceedings. Now, the second pre-assumption this resolution makes is that it is so heinous, the crime committed is so heinous and so severe that it warrants for this kind of detention, because delegates from Ireland believe that this will bring forth national security. Nicaragua believes that if this crime committed is so severe, Nicaragua believes that there's very, very little possibility as to how a defense team can get that person who is charged out of the crimes they have committed, and believes that a due legal proceeding is more appropriate in this scenario. And the second reason why we believe why Nicaragua believes that trial is important is because this can also serve to benefit for documenting purposes, whereby the crime can be properly defined, properly debated in the court, and can be proper punishments can be dealt out proportionately. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Ghana has wished to say. The delegate simply wishes to reaffirm the point stated that if one already knows what crime the person is being detained for, then that means a trial had already taken place, because the only way to identify what type of crime you are being detained for is to have a trial. One cannot exist without the other. The delegate also wishes to raise the point of how and who and how are the persons going to be chosen for detention? Who is going to be in charge of detaining these people without a trial, saying that these people, okay, because we say so, these people now have to be detained? And what are the criteria they used? The resolution mentions international guidelines, but it fails to mention any specific rule that is relevant to the situation. For example, the criteria in which one would detain a person without a trial. And the delegate also wishes to respond to a point made by the delegate of Ethiopia that lawyers can be corrupted during trials so that they can win cases for the guilty people. Delegates of the floor, the delegate of Ethiopia is displaying a lack of knowledge or understanding of what the role of a lawyer in the court of law is. The role of a lawyer is to raise a doubt, is to say that perhaps this person is not guilty, and if he can raise enough doubts, then that person will not be convicted of the crime. Their job is not simply to win the case, it is simply to provide a defense, the defense that every individual is entitled to in the court of law when he is charged. And on that, considering that note, isn't it also possible for a government official in charge of deciding who gets detained, isn't it also possible that he is corrupt? Ladies and gentlemen, delegates of the floor, corruption cannot be used as an argument for why detention without trial should be carried out. And with that, the delegate wishes to end his speech.
Thank you, Delegate. If the delegate
And today this delegate of Congo are here to discuss one of the most aggravating issues in the world. It is a great concern to our people, and we are sure that it is a great concern to the entire world as well. We are here to discuss child mortality rates. As all of you are aware, the Congo suffers from a tremendous lack of health care, which accelerates the population's death rate. The Second Congo War, beginning in 1998, devastated the country and is sometimes referred to as the African World War. Because it involves 9 African nations and 20 armed groups. The war is the world's deadliest conflict since World War II, killing 5.4 million people since 1998. They died from diseases that were both preventable and treatable, such as malaria, diarrhea, pneumonia, and malnutrition, aggravated by displaced populations living in unsanitary and overcrowded conditions that lack access to shelter, water, food, and medicine. 47% of those deaths were children under 5. Due to its history of so many civil wars, diseases, and death rates, which are always increasing in Congo, this delegate believes that the resolution presented is a very practical one and can be achieved efficiently. The Democratic Republic of Congo is so devastated, and it needs so much more than it already has to become a society where health and wealth is being a priority. For this reason,
supports Congo's resolution, but would like to make a suggestion to emphasize on the education of breastfeeding for women. One large study by the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences showed that children who breastfed have a 20% lower risk of dying between the ages of 28 days and 1 year than children who weren't breastfed, with longer breastfeeding associated with lower risk.
The main immune factor at work here is a substance called secretory immunoglobulin, globulin A, that's present in large amounts in colostrum, the first milk your body produces for your baby. The substance guards against invading germs by forming a protective layer on the mucous membrane in the baby's intestines, nose, and throat. So, Honduras strongly believes that by educating women on the benefits of breastfeeding will really help many more babies to survive and to thrive in such countries. And Honduras also would like to suggest the increase or the use of supply of oral rehydration salts for acute respiratory infections such as pneumonia. For those, it is shown that the oral rehydration salts helps people living in countries, African-related countries such as Democratic Republic of Congo and any hot terrain countries. So this will really help, and Honduras will strongly suggest on the increase of crop plantation for sustainable food supplies for the children in the Democratic Republic of Congo in order to get a sustainable food supply and sustainable and enough nutrients for growth and for thriving and survival. So that's it.